Hi everyone. So this month, along with the renewals for all the new members that we're getting sorted, is also the month that start to see fish spawn. So it's the 7th of May now, and as you can maybe hear behind me, the fish are crashing around. They've just started to spawn this morning or through the night last night. Only a few small groups, but yeah, that'll be us shut in now for a while. We'll leave them be. Very stressful time for the fish, so there's another group spawning out there. I'll try and get some better footage in a minute. But yeah, at the moment we're just going through the process of doing all the renewals. So there's a lot of members rejoining, which is great news. And so far up to this point there's been a lot of big fish caught, and at some great weights. So a lot of the named fish are being caught now. Unfortunately the unit wasn't caught before this spawning has started, so we're not too sure what that one is weighing in at, if it's still in here, to be honest. So but it's really nice to see the named ones being caught. Yeah, there's been loads of fish sort of around the 35-36 pound mark. Scars got caught a couple of days ago, which is great to see that fish is still in here, because we did have our doubts. But yeah, so at the moment it's going to be shut for spawning. We'll start to do some walk rounds for the new members as well this coming month. So if your name's on the waiting list, keep your eye on your emails, because we will be in touch. I like to walk everyone around just so that they get a feel for the place. You get to ask any questions, and I get to make the rules quite clear. So that's basically what will be happening. For the time being, I'll try and get a bit of footage of these fish spawning. There's not all that many spawning at the moment. There's 2 or 3 groups. There's another one out here that they're just getting a bit more active. I guess as the day warms up, they'll get more and more active. There you go. Although there's not a lot of fish spawning at the moment, they're in fairly smallish sort of groups. They're you can see they're just sort of struggle to see actually with the way the light is, but they're spread all over the lake at the moment. The weed isn't as thick as what it was last year, so they're spread right from the shallow end to the deep end. Actually, there's fish cruising right out in the middle. They're just sort of grouping up. There's a few small groups started. I'd say in the next day or so there'll be a hive of activity. So I might try and get out in the boat and just try and get a bit nearer to a few, see if we can spot any of the named fish that haven't been caught yet. Wow, that's a big fish. So now I'm out here. It's quite difficult to film them because the wind's pushing through and I'm drifting a lot, but they're basically spread all over the middle of the lake. There's groups sort of spawning everywhere. So I'm just going to try and hopefully sort of drift along for a couple of minutes, and we'll see what we can spot. I have tried to sort of head towards the groups of fish, but I just seem to push them around. So I'll leave them alone and I'll just drift, and we'll see what we see. I have spotted quite a few of the named fish already, which is nice. I saw a fish as I was rowing up the lake where they're splashing, sort of thing, that if I hadn't found apples I would have said it was apples. So I'm wondering whether that was pears, but it was a bit far away to see, but it had massive scales on its flank and then a big sort of dark gap, so looked very similar to pears. As you can see, the weed is very thin. It's probably 6 to 7 foot here. Here's a big ghosty, look. You know, that's swimming 4 foot down, that fish. That's easily mid-20s, easy, if not bigger. That's a lovely fish. Followed by a few commons the other side of it there, actually, but we'll keep the camera facing this way because I think you can probably see a bit more. So yeah, they're quite interested in the boat actually. The fish sort of come under the boat, which is surprising. When I'm not rowing, they're not as bothered. So I'm starting to sort of drift into the main body of fish here. But as I was saying, it's 6 to 7 foot here. I can see the bottom. I've got my glasses over the lens, so you can see a bit better through it. The ripple's not helping, but you can see the bottom clear as anything. The weed is very sparse. There's probably one strand per square metre. Very thin. Oh, there's a big group of fish behind me. Hopefully they might come round. Very, very big common down there being chased by 3 fish. Very big common. But yeah, whether you can, I don't know how well you'll see all this, but they're spawning all over. They're up on the ripped up bits of strand of weed. Yeah, be very interesting to see what happens this year with the weed. With it being this thin, I do wonder whether some Canadian might come through latter part of the season, because it's going to get as much light as it needs. The water's clear enough. I can't see any growing yet, but that's not to say it isn't here. So I'm just drifting down on the wind. Started up sort of in front of peg 10 area. I'm now in front of pegs 25 and 26. The fish are literally spread everywhere, so they're not in tight groups like they were last year. I'm generally seeing them in groups of 4 and 5, and they are literally spread the whole way across the lake, nearly the length of it, just finding any sort of clumps of weed they can. But they're spawning very well. So see if I can drift over any of these groups. So I've just sort of started to come over the next sort of group of fish. But the wind is carrying me quite quickly, so it's proving a bit tricky to, as you can hear probably, they're spawning all around. Hopefully we'll get amongst another group in a minute. There's a big group down there. Let's see if I can put my glasses over here. Like I say, groups of 4 or 5, sort of no more. Seen a few little males zooming around with the, oh, this is a big group here. Yeah. So a couple of mirrors there. Like I say, they're just hanging a bit too deep to sort of make out exactly what fish they are, because they're not staying still for long enough. See, might get lucky. Big group sort of under the boat. They're all 20-pounders easy. So that's a big common in the middle with 2 smaller fish side by side. So wow, see them bashing in against that common. So the really big ones I've noticed seem to be sort of more on their own, which is bizarre. Maybe they're not quite ready yet. Wow, that is a huge common. That, I think, is the unit down there. Looks very similar to it. That could well be a 40-pounder. Hopefully that comes up near the boat. Yeah, look at that. Look how wide that fish is. Absolutely massive. I've got a big group underneath me now. There's fish everywhere. Unfortunately, I'm drifting the wrong way, but there does seem to be a few fish over here, so I'll carry on. There's fish right by the bank as well, but the majority seem to be out here. There it is, there's that huge common again. Really nice that the water's cleared up and you can get over them and see what fish they are. There's another group just here, look, going now. Be interesting. The fish seem to be really interested in the boat as well. So there's a group of commons there, and I've got about 20 odd fish just following the boat. There they go there. It's a bit tricky to film and try and direct myself over the fish because the wind's taking me, but yeah. The fish aren't just spawning out right in the open. I've just drifted in here, look, and they're in all these roots around the island. There's quite a few fish tucked in amongst here. I'm going to actually drift right in here, but as you can see, they're getting right in amongst these roots. So I think I'm going to wrap this video up now, guys. We've been shut now for 2 days, and the fish have spawned a lot more today than they did yesterday. And I would say this week looks very settled weather. I'd say they're going to continue on doing that as well. So there we go. So yeah, I'm going to shut for a week minimum, let them try and get it out of the system, and then hopefully we'll be reopening again in a week or so's time. Cheers, guys.